Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! Hello, everybody! Step right up, come on! Well, actually, you already did, motherfucker! Hot Blade Daily! This is another edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out! I'm joined by the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Joshi G! And since it's a preview and prediction episode, I am joined by the one, the only, the one and only, Antione Raphael! Antoine, welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I love every time that I'm here, and I am glad to go through and review with you guys and our fellow sickos.
That's right. That's right. That's the hype I'm looking for, my friend. Now, Joshi G, you're here as well.
I am here. Hi, Antoine. It's nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice to have you back. We kind of missed you.
Kind of. Aw.
Yeah.
Just a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit. I miss that Canadian niceness. You know, some people don't like it. I mean, they may even make slight fun of it, but, you know, I find it refreshing and warm-hearted.
Thank you, Antoine. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Yeah, I was hoping that iBlade would have the same sentiments, but I already know how he feels
Joshi,
about...
hey, Joshi, I'm happy you're here too. And I noticed that you're Canadian.
When did you notice this?
Just now?
Oh, it wasn't apparent until now.
I mean, I probably mentioned the fact that you live in Montreal like several dozen times since we started taping this show. But, I mean, you are from Montreal. And as I recall, when I was a child, I do recall watching television and watching Montreal try to secede from Canada. And you guys are kind of known for being kind of snobby.
I don't know if I would say snobby. I mean, this isn't France. But maybe a little bit, not me anyways. There are a lot of nice people in Montreal, but for sure there are people that aren't super friendly. Not as friendly as the other Canadians.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then there's people who are super nice, and then some of them are pro wrestlers named Mike Bailey. And I think they are marvelous wrestlers who are incredibly kind in their promos, which to me maybe isn't as natural to the ear as it is to others.
Well, you're American. Of course it's not natural.
And then certain people from Montreal might have heard my opinion and then turned the entire country of Canada against me.
I don't think the entire country of Canada is against you.
No, I think they
you're
are.
Imagining this in your head. You're talking about like 5 people.
Don't gaslight me. I'm going to have to go to therapy after this.
Well, you should go to therapy because you make things up every single week. It's getting out of control.
Oh, speaking of making things up, I have no idea where I was going with that transition, but
tell us what you've been up to, iBlade.
Let's go. Joshi. Thank you for rescuing me. I really got myself in a mess there. I've been watching a lot of wrestling, you guys, like a lot of wrestling, and it's been super duper fun, super duper fun time. I've been watching a lot of Japanese wrestling, actually. I know New Japan very well. Okay. Like I enjoy New Japan. I love New Japan. Not as like up to date on the current product, but the history of New Japan, all that stuff. I know it really well. But All Japan has been a big blind spot for me. And Joshi wrestling really has been a big blind spot for me. And again, not as up to date on Stardom as I would like to be, but I am really digging in hard to All Japan women's wrestling. I got Blu-ray of the best of All Japan Women's Wrestling, All Japan Women's Wrestling Classics from 1975 to 1985. Ooh. And it is fascinating. It is really, really fascinating to see to just see like the origins of Joshi wrestling. And, so many of these people really, like, if they caught fire as baby faces, they became pop stars too. And they started doing all of this, all of this different media and stuff. And they became huge stars in Japan, in addition to being wrestlers, which was really cool. Actually saw a Rhonda Singh match when she was known as Monster Ripper in All Japan Women's. Oh. Some people may know her as Bertha Faye from WWF back in the day towards the end of her career. But I saw her like in the early 80s match with her where she's like in her physical prime, and she was great. Really, really good. So really enjoying that. Been watching some of the Funk brothers in All Japan in the 70s and 80s. That's a blast.
Wild.
Super fun stuff. Been watching some Noah. Been watching, a lot of stuff. Been watching, Kenta Kobashi matches. Yeah, it's just been a lot of fun.
I'm just really proud of you. Expanding your horizons. I love it.
Man. Thank you.
I'm proud of you too, iBlade.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you proud?
For the most part.
Okay. No, I'll take it.
Well, speaking of fascinating.
Yeah.
You didn't mention the biggest moment of the week.
Oh, I didn't? What are we talking about?
Well, there was the return of the most prominent figure in wrestling today. You completely forgot to mention this person.
I'm trying to think what big comebacks were this week.
Everyone, please say hello to Muppet Moné.
Oh, God.
She came back.
Yeah.
We weren't sure what was going to happen. And then on Dynamite, bam, there she was. I jumped off my couch. I was so happy.
I could not believe it. I thought it had sort of kind of, she was being put in a box and being put away. And then all of a sudden.
She wasn't in a box, Antoine. She was traveling the world.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You didn't know. No need to apologize. I mean, a lot of people think she's just a puppet, but she's way more than that. She has feelings. She walks, she talks, she swims, she eats, she drinks, she wrestles.
Passionate about climate change.
Yeah, she's very passionate about climate change, actually.
Yeah. Didn't you say she'd been traveling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She traveled, she was in, she went to Venice, Barcelona, Paris. Mm-hmm. She went to Bangkok. She needed the time off. She worked really hard there for a month with Harley. That's true. She had asked Harley for some time off, and Harley told her, you know what? You deserve it.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself a little bit. And then Harley needed her to come back.
Yeah, and I would say like spending a month with somebody's hand up your ass is hard work.
She also needed to get a colonoscopy, the poor Muppet Moné.
When you're made of felt, I imagine a lot of lint there'd be a persistent lint kind of thing.
Yeah, they definitely needed to fix her butt.
All right. Okay. Don't even know where to go from here. So Joshi J is doing good?
He's good, yeah. Rock and roll all the time.
Rock and roll all the time, like living that rock and roller life that he lives?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where he's just partying like an animal all the time.
Just partying all the time. No, he's doing well, though. He actually joined Muppet Moné and I for some tea last week. So that was nice.
Oh, was it at a restaurant or was it maybe like at a little table in the house with a nice blanket and maybe some teacups that may or may not have had?
It was at an actual tea room, Antoine. So it's kind of like a restaurant, and you go there and try different teas and different pastries and small sandwiches.
Oh, you have the small sandwich with the toothpick through it and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
That's nice.
That's
nice. Okay. Well, I'm happy for you.
Weren't you both happy to see her on Dynamite? I mean, I couldn't have been the only one.
Initially, yes. And then I thought of this moment happening and I had a different reaction. But, soon, me and Joshi J are going to talk again. And just make sure you're doing all right.
I told you I'm doing very well because she's back on television. I'm very happy.
I know.
And that's what matters, is for you to be happy. I was happy to see her. And the many, many people who popped when she came out, it was just magical to me. And you can't take that away from the people in the audience who care for her so much.
Well, she's the most over wrestler in the world right now.
But you know what I noticed, Joshi, and that you might not have been aware of, is she's not even on the AEW roster page.
Yeah. Tony needs to fix that. I need to write him a letter.
They're giving these spots away to people who aren't even on the roster. And, they could have featured, like Tony Nese could have been on that show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's because Tony regards her as a puppet and nothing more. That's the problem. It's the way it's your perception.
It's puppetism.
Yeah, and
it's puppetism.
She's obviously, she's way more than a puppet. Tony doesn't understand that yet, and that might be his biggest fumble. I think Tony has fumbled Muppet Moné.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, how he, definitely high up on that list, like Ethan Page, total fumble, Ricky Taints, Sticky Staints.
Ricky Farts.
Fumble, big fumble. Yeah, Ricky Farts. He fumbled Sean Spears.
Big time.
Major fumble. But of all the fumbles, a Puppet Moné.
Oh my God. Yeah. The biggest fumble in wrestling.
Okay. Antoine, what have you been up to, friend?
Not a lot of downtime much lately, but loving what I'm watching, trying to squeeze in as much Joshi and Japanese wrestling as I possibly can. Never miss AEW, never miss Ring of Honor. I am a little worried about Miss Muppet Moné because I just watched the movie The Monkey, so I don't need that type of puppet in my life, so really watch the direction in which she goes. But yeah, just living a normal, happy, springy life.
Antoine, did you like The Monkey?
Actually, I thought it was fantastic.
It was
hilarious. It was really so funny. Hilarious.
But I don't want that kind of monkey. Yeah, I Blade. Maybe we'll get you one for your birthday next year.
So you want to give me something that you don't want? I don't even need to see this movie. Okay.
The monkey is actually really nice, right, Antoine?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you guys are keeping something from me.
What are you talking about?
You know what? I don't have time for these games.
You want a banana?
Later. But yes, I don't have time for these games. Okay. We've got big news, and it's devastating news. The core of AEW has been shaken due to 3 incredibly badly timed injuries. And we need to talk about it. Jay White broke his motherfucking hand. Jay White, who was scheduled to be a big part of this Owen Hart Foundation tournament, broke his hand facing Kevin Knight. And I don't know who to blame for it, but I'm gonna say God. I'm gonna blame God for it.
I think God was being very unreasonable that day.
Very. I was really hurt by that when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't seem to be hurting that much, and he still did his promos with a cup and all of that. And I feel like it was his time coming, and for him, that's just a major blow for us.
It is.
I know, and like you said, Antoine, when I read that, well, actually, when the commentators had mentioned that he had been injured, I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? Is this some kind of work? What the hell? And then when Fightful confirmed it, I was thinking, wait, when, where, how? What do you mean he's injured? Because as you said, when he wrestled Kevin Knight on Collision, there was no period in that match where I thought, oh crap, like Jay got hurt. I don't understand what the heck happened. So it's just so unfortunate. I guess I try to look at on the bright side. He's not going to be out for super long. So that's good, at least. That's why I keep trying to tell myself, like, this really sucks. Because he last got injured, when was it, in the summer or something
last
like
summer,
that? Yeah, it's like already injured again. But from what I've read, he shouldn't be out for a long period of time. So
sounds
that's
like a couple months. Yeah.
Just a couple of months. But obviously it still sucks. Yep.
Especially because the other news is that Juice Robinson is ready to start training to come back.
Yay!
And what is Juice without Jay? Those guys kind of go together, peanut butter and jelly situation. So that's a bummer about Jay. Then we get the news that Orange Cassidy has a torn pec. And as we all remember with Cody Rhodes wrestling with a torn pec, that's a pretty legit injury. I mean, it's a nasty injury. And he could be out for 5 or 6. He could be out 5 or 6 months. So
5 or 6 months.
You know, Orange Cassidy looks young, but he is not. He's like 40 years old at least. So like,
he got injured on Dynamite, right?
I believe so. That's the last time he was on TV. Yeah.
I had no idea. They only brought that up yesterday. I had no idea he was injured. I think that took everyone by surprise.
Yeah, no, it definitely did.
Yeah.
So, I just noticed he hadn't been on TV the last few weeks, and I thought maybe they gave him some time off or something, but
same.
Nope, he got hurt.
If I may add, the one that didn't, I don't know about everybody else, but I have actually not missed Orange Cassidy at all. I don't know if that's because of the excellent programming that they're putting together, but he's been going for so long, constantly, forever. He was bound to break down, and it stinks. But I wish him well. But I think he needs a break anyway.
Oh well, I think cooling him off a little bit and just having him come back down the road when he's recovered, and I think they're to the point with Orange now where they can move him into like helping people get over more, and he's an established star, and you don't ever need to put the world title on Orange Cassidy. It's not like he has much further to go really as a character. So the other very sad news.
This is the worst one.
Poor goddamn Mark Davis.
Yeah.
Injury cursed Mark Davis, who worked so hard to come back after 14 months. I think he had a broken wrist the last time. Has an unspecified injury. He got injured in his match with Hobbs. I was really enjoying what he was doing, but I hope this doesn't continue. AEW does go through these bouts of injuries sometimes, and let's hope that that's all it is with these three. But man, I really enjoyed Mark Davis. So
me too.
I'm not sure what the injury is.
We don't know how serious it is, right? They didn't even say if it's
no, they didn't.
Oh, no. I hope not.
Yeah,
for crying out loud.
And it kind of felt like they had found like that sweet spot between will he or won't he, or is he good or is he bad? And they finally found it, and then he gets hurt. I'm like, AEW has such luck with getting injuries in bunches.
And right. Hopefully the rule of threes stops here, so like,
please. No more injuries.
But fortunately, with all that said, and before my 3'7" butler hits the music here, Gerald, you're doing a good job, by the way. We do have good news. And the good news is AEW Dynasty is this Sunday, and it's looking like a banger. So, Gerald, music. And we're back. You guys can't see it, but all of us are fucking grooving out in our chairs here. We're all chair dancing. That's right. That's right.
We're having
all
a
chair
blast
dancing
here.
You guys don't even know it, but we're chair dancing. So, AEW Dynasty will take place in Philadelphia this Sunday. There are 10 matches for the main card announced, which honestly is like a diet AEW pay-per-view these days. Tony Khan is not averse to putting 14 matches on a pay-per-view. So we got 10 matches. I really like this lineup. I think this is an excellent lineup. Every match is meaningful, really meaningful. There's nothing that's just there. And so rather than go through the blow-by-blow of Dynamite or Collision or any one of those things, we're going to talk about the match and then kind of talk about the story of the match and what we think is going to happen. We'll probably be wrong if recent history is any indicator. It seems like every time there's a pay-per-view, I predict like 14 heel turns, and none of them happen.
The greatest heel turn of all time in our last episode, and not a single thing happened.
Not a single damn thing happened. But without further ado, friends, shall we jump into it?
Heck yes.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. We start at the top of the card. At the very tip top of the card, Death Riders John Moxley. It's going to face Swerve Strickland, brother, for the men's World Heavyweight Championship. They have built this program really well in a very short period of time. It feels personal. I think for people who haven't been paying a ton of attention may not realize Moxley has quietly become Swerve Strickland's like little hill to climb. As far as, he beat Swerve in the C2 a year and a half ago. And then he won a 3-way match with him and Jay White a couple weeks after that. And so it's not really Swerve's never beaten John Moxley.
I was going to say, I don't think he ever has.
Yeah. So Antoine, what have you thought of the build to this?
I didn't know what to think at first because I was so disappointed with John Moxley keeping the belt, and I thought that had run stale. But when Swerve won, it just seemed to inject an entirely bit of new life. But I was concerned with how are they going to really interact with each other because they're both so intense. Does either party know when to back off and let the other one take the lead? Make it a really nice waltz, a dance, if you will. I've really, especially the past couple of weeks, I've really enjoyed the build. Not many people may recall, but when Moxley first came in to AEW that first year or so, and when Swerve was there, that is one of the people that he saw as the future. Mm-hmm. So to see it get as far as it has, to quietly, if you're not paying attention, that he's never beaten them. So this is a kind of like a quiet little subplot right there. But I'm really excited to see this match, particularly after what happened in Dynamite this week.
Yeah. Joshi, what about you?
I think at this point it's safe to say that when you feel a wrestler isn't getting enough traction, you just put them in a rivalry with Swerve. Somehow Swerve just reignites passion in his opponents. I don't know how the heck he does it, but I think the build has been extremely well done, and I think Swerve has outsmarted Moxley quite a bit, and he has also shown that he's as tough and as crazy as Moxley. So it looks like Moxley has met his match. And personally, I think Swerve is winning that belt on Sunday, at Dynasty, with Hangman Adam Page's help after what we witnessed on Dynamite.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Joshi, because, folks, I think we got to talk about the moment that we're referencing right now. So they've kind of teased Hangman looking for Swerve at one point, Swerve maybe looking for Hangman at one point, not running into each other really. And then Hangman said to Renee a few weeks ago, I said I would never let Swerve get the title back, and I am nothing if not a man of my word, right? So this week, Swerve had vowed to find Moxley. And before the show ended, because we'll get to what happened, but Moxley gave Willow a Death Rider DDT, and she was injured. And Swerve said he was going to get his revenge on Moxley this week. And as he's going to look for Moxley, he runs into Hangman and he goes, "You said you're going to interfere in my match." And Hangman goes, "Yeah, I'm going to interfere in your match." Like, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. And Hangman goes, "You broke into my house." And Swerve goes, "You burned my house down." And then Hangman goes, "You deserved it." And Swerve goes, "I know." And Hangman goes, "What'd you say?" And Swerve goes, "I said, I know." And Hangman storms off.
That was a great recreation, by the way.
It
Thank
was.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I really put a lot of myself into that, guys. Thank you. But who else got chills?
I definitely got chilled.
That was like, what the fuck? Like, Swerve said, "I know." That's all you need to do to show the growth of this character. You know what I mean? Like, I took it too far.
That whole thing lasted like 46 seconds and everyone was talking about it.
That was the thing everybody was talking about.
See what you can do. It's not about the amount of time you spend doing something. It's about what you do with the time that you have. And they did all of that with a minute. And I even caught myself as soon as he said, "I know." Wait, what?
Yeah.
No, that's really? And it caught, Hangman did such a great job with the reaction after he said, "I know," and then just sort of walking away, just sort of like diffused, didn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
That it just made the entire situation even better. And I almost agree 100% with Joshi. I think it does set up for a potential Hangman getting involved, because the Death Riders, this ain't going to end with a one-on-one. It'll be that way. I feel like for the majority of the match, because they have such high respect for each other. But my prediction, heart on my sleeve prediction, is Swerve walks out with the World Heavyweight title.
With maybe like an uncomfortable stare down or like uncomfortable recognition of Hangman. Like with the belt, you know? But, okay, so I see a couple things here, okay? If the plan is to do Swerve and Hangman at All In July, Swerve's obviously got to win the belt here, right?
Right.
And I could see Hangman trying to help Swerve because he's been messed with by the Death Riders too. Hangman has.
Yeah.
So I could see him trying to help Swerve and accidentally costing Swerve. And then, you know, Swerve says, "Oh, you meant to do it." And they kind of do this build to something between them that's not for the title. Because I think with the Death Riders, the only thing getting in my way here intellectually is like there seems like there's some hanging stuff with the Death Riders that hasn't been dealt with, like Wheeler and, you know, but do they need the belt to do that?
I don't think they need the belt to do that.
I want to choose with my heart, not my doubts. Dynasty is Swerve's event.
Yeah.
That's where we saw this man win the world title last year, and I want to see him win it again this year. And I think the best thing would be Swerve and Hangman having that uncomfortable moment in the ring together after the match.
Well, I also want to mention, after the way Revolution ended, not so much Swerve coming out and attacking Moxley, but the Moxley Cope match being underwhelming and the fans criticizing it. Do you really want to leave the fans upset again? Is that wise? Because if Moxley beats Swerve, the fans are going to be furious.
Or they could be even worse and not have any reaction and just be apathetic.
Right.
Well, that would be the worst thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the worst thing. Is, look, hate is better than apathy, for sure. Like, them reacting viscerally is good. Now, there are exceptions. Like the fans booing the shit out of Roman and Brock at that WrestleMania where they had a 5-minute main event, and they like turned their back on the match. They were being loud, but it wasn't good. It was a very bad sign. But I think if Moxley wins this, they're going to have to find a way to explain it and give some kind of satisfactory development. And I'm not sure what it could possibly be. I just don't know.
I think it might almost hurt him more to keep the title than to give it up at this point right now.
Well, we will see, but we got a lot more matches to cover, folks. So on we go to the timeless one. Toni Storm, the queen of all of our raunchy little hearts. She's like a combination of the Nature Boy and The Rock all at the same time. She's amazing, and I love her to death. But she is facing, speaking of Brock, she is facing the Megasis, Megan Bayne, and it is looking like it's going to be. They've added a lot of intrigue to this match because Megan's basically gotten the better of her at every single turn.
Yeah.
Joshi, what are you thinking here?
I think Toni Storm has to retain here. Megan Bayne is very impressive and she has a very promising future in AEW. I'm not worried about that. But at this point, as you said, Megan Bayne has gotten the upper hand every single time she's on TV with Toni Storm. I do think that their rivalry has been very good. Toni Storm on the mic is always magical. And it's actually been really cool to see the woman, especially when Toni is involved, I feel, main event or open the show. It goes to show that Toni Storm is a huge draw and that, the AEW fans are invested in the woman. And so this is great. And, even if Toni Storm were to lose, which I don't think will happen because in my opinion, I think Jamie Hayter's winning the Owen, and I think she's going to be the one to dethrone Toni Storm. I think Jamie's going to get revenge on Toni. So I just don't see Toni losing the belt until maybe All In.
Well, let's get there because the Owen is a separate discussion that we're going to be having later in this episode, Joshi. So thanks for jumping the gun.
Gosh. Jeez.
God.
Antoine?
I'm with Joshi on what was said. If there's anything that made me stand up and clap my hands off was to see back-to-back shows where the women were the main event.
Yeah.
That is, there is nothing else that needs to be proven to TBS, TNT, or Max anymore. He has no excuses. So, Mr. Khan, if you're listening, you got no excuses. Now start spreading the love out amongst everybody. I do admit that I thought it was too soon for Megan.
Me too.
There are way too many excellent women's wrestlers that she needed to jump the line. But the new shiny thing that comes around is always what everybody wants to see. And this isn't disrespect to her, but even when that one Dynamite where it was sort of awkwardly moving around and Thunder Rosa was threatening her with a chair but wouldn't hit her, and we're all like, you going to do it or not? What's going on here?
Right.
It showed a lack of being on TV in front of a national spotlight. And that's the things that she needs to work on. Not talent, not moves. It's the intangibles that would help her be an excellent world champion. I just don't think she's there yet. And I think that it's going to be Tony without a doubt. It should be Tony because she spent most of her time as champ dealing with Mariah.
Yeah.
So let's give somebody else a chance.
Very quickly, I absolutely agree with Antoine. It's something that I also noticed, I think it was on Collision, after Penelope Ford pretty much kicked Toni Storm in the face, and then Megan Bayne came out and did the F5. She was in the ring and seemed like she didn't know if she should stay, if she should leave. And Penelope was the one that had to be like, okay, let's go. So I completely agree with Antoine. She doesn't have that kind of awareness yet. So do you really want to put her in a position to be the champion, to be the center of that division? I just don't think she's there. Mm-hmm. And I also felt that this match was booked way too soon. But again, Antoine's absolutely right. When someone new comes in the company and they're so physically impressive, you want to give them a huge showing. I just don't think she should become a champion yet.
I think that I agree that she won't win. I don't think she's going to win. Until last week, I was kind of on the fence. I really didn't know. I think you cannot fault them for the push she's gotten. When somebody has that kind of physical aura, you have a narrow window of time. Like, you can't be on the hence with somebody like that. You got to give them, they're like somebody stepping out of the mist. You know what I mean? They're like from a different planet almost. I understand the push she's getting, and yeah, it might be too soon for her to be facing Tony, but I think Tony's done a good job of making it make sense, like Tony Storm. And I think Megan will grow a lot because of this. And I think Megan's going to basically murder her, and Tony will escape by the skin of her teeth. And that'll be, yeah, it's like, I don't think Tony should be like getting like a definitive beat the shit out of her kind of win. It should be maybe that small package that she's used to, for some of her big wins recently. But it's going to be a good match. Megan Bayne is awesome in the ring. She's, she's incredibly strong. She knows how to use spray tan, and maybe the only person in AEW who does. Speaking of people who may not need help with spray tan, Kenneth Jerome Bonaparte Omega will be facing Dick O'Shea, also known as Ricochet to some, and the nicest guy in the world, Mike Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey, for the international title in a three-way match. I have been surprised at how open Mike Bailey is about just saying, like, look, Kenny's his hero. And like this dude inspired him. And he's been, I heard an interview with him today on the AEW podcast, shout out Aubrey and Will, where he was talking about the match they had in PWG is really the match that made Speedball. And so he is like kind of eternally indebted. They were also talking about the evolution of Kenny's hair. And Speedball was talking about the wonderful mullets Kenny has had. And it's not any wonder that Speedball has the most 80s mullet I've ever seen in my life. He really admires him. And it was like, he was very funny. He was like, it's just a shame Ricochet has to be in the match, because I think me and Kenny could have a great match. They clearly are all friends. You know what I mean? So it's like funny to hear Speedball diss Ricochet. But this is going to be an awesome match. I don't know how it couldn't be. You got three of the best workers in the world in one match together. I think Kenny's winning. I think it's that simple. What do you guys think?
in terms of build towards this match, this is one of those matches that I don't really care about the build because I'm looking at the names and going, "Oh, that's going to be awesome." I will have some pointers for the wonderful speedball Mike Bailey as it comes to his career going forward. You got to be a little more aggressive on the promos. That was just a little too wonderfully adorable and nice. It was sweet. I loved it, but the crowd is just going to start going, "Oh," and it's not going to be anything but sarcastic. But it's going to be in a way that it's out of love for speedball.
So, Antoine, real quick, would you maybe be saying that he's a little too nice in his promos?
Okay. He's a little too nice in his promos.
Wow.
Specifically in his promos. I didn't say he's a little too nice. I said he's a little too nice in his promos.
Is that what I've been saying this entire time, that the entire country of Canada now hates me for? Yes. That's what I said initially. And everybody turned on me. But now you all agree with me. That's because I make the big blade bucks, baby. Yeah, you don't see it right now. I'm fucking flexing the no muscles I don't have. Everybody's laughing right now. It's because there's no actual muscle there. Joshi.
Well, Kenny Omega's...
Well, hold on.
Hey, don't cut me off. Don't cut me off ever again. Hey.
How do you feel about being wrong about the promo?
I'm not wrong. I don't think he's too nice. I don't agree. I think a babyface is supposed to be nice. Willow was super nice for the longest time. Bailey was nice and the fans loved her. Will he always remain this nice? I don't know. But for now, he's just really excited to be in AEW and to wrestle his hero, Kenny Omega. So I don't agree. Absolutely not. How long did it take for Willow to get some edge? She didn't have any edge. She was always smiling and stuff. We didn't say she was too nice.
That's a good comparison. No, I did.
Why, is it because he's a guy? Guys can't be very nice? Is that
I never said that. I never said that. No.
Is that where we're getting at, guys?
No.
No.
You know who Speedball reminds me of is Rey Mysterio. Like, he's got a very similar appeal.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he's just awesome and kids are going to love him and all of that. If I was Mike Bailey, I'd be studying Rey Mysterio promos because he has figured out how to skirt that line between being like that good dude and knowing how to dial it up a little bit when he needs to. And if I was Mike Bailey, that's who I would be looking at is Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
And to be honest, I would be looking at Willow as well, too.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
To me, Willow did not hit her stride until she got that little tiny bit of an edge. And that's really all that Mike Bailey is really missing. I watched so much New Japan with him in it. In the Best of the Super Juniors, I love the guy. It's amazing the stuff that he can do. And he is respected. He's one of the more respected wrestlers on the planet. Just need a little edge. That's all.
Sure. But, listen, sure. I do. It's not bothering me. And I do think it will come. However, right now, I'm just really happy for him. The fact that he gets to wrestle his hero, Kenny Omega. It's going to be his first AEW pay-per-view. I mean, imagine signing with a company. They already put you in a match against one of your heroes, and then there's Ricochet, for a title on a pay-per-view. That's huge. I think it just shows that Tony's just so high on Mike Bailey, and with good reason. He's an extremely gifted athlete, and he could put on a great match with just anybody. So I'm very happy for him. This is going to be an amazing match. I do miss Ricochet, I'm not going to lie. I know he got married, so it's understandable that he wouldn't, be on Dynamite this week, but he will be on Collision, though, right? If I'm not mistaken, he's going to be there tomorrow.
I actually don't know what the card is for Collision tomorrow.
Aren't Bailey and Ricochet going to be on Collision?
Oh, they might be.
Yeah.
Like doing
I would
promos
like
or
to
something?
see him because his one little promo that he did from wherever his honeymoon is was absolutely hilarious.
It
And I
was.
think as Kenny Omega is, and I do think Kenny wins. I think in this type of match, it's Ricochet who needs to be the MVP.
Yeah.
And I think he will be. I think he will be. You know, the thing about also, did you see the picture that he took with his wife wearing like a Tony Khan wig earlier this week? Oh my God.
Oh.
Go find it on Instagram.
Oh God, I gotta look that up.
It's him wearing like, it's basically a Tony Khan wig. But it's absolutely, this dude is so good. And man, that guy is such a good sport about being bald and being mocked relentlessly for it.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me?
I know. I feel bad for the guy because I feel bad for anyone being mocked for something they have no control over. But he's a real good sport about it. I think for him,
you have a nice
Antoine. Antoine has a really nice head.
He has a nice head.
So
and last thing I want to say about this match, I'm just really stoked that there are two Canadians in this match, and that one of them is from my hometown, Montreal, Quebec. So,
and the other is your wrestle husband,
and the other one's my wrestling husband from Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's just so delightful.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all predicting Kenny retains.
Yeah.
Correct. I just feel like Kenny is hurtling towards a match with Okada at All In, and I think that it's going to, that's what they're doing. Hopefully, they find a way to go title for title on the international title and the C2 title. I just don't really see the point of the Continental Championship. Hopefully, that's what they're doing. Moving right along here, we got the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Pac versus Rated FTR. Been a very interesting build to this one. Dax. Weird build. Weird build.
Yeah.
They're doing that thing where they're trying to convince you that there is strife between FTR. Because Dax is acting like an asshole. And he's clearly feeling resentful of Adam Copeland, and that Cash is stuck in the middle, and that he doesn't want to be in the middle, but he almost seems to be favoring Copeland a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we think.
There is no fucking way they are separating FTR.
No.
There's no way.
I am in total agreement with anything. If anything on the show, it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
There's
They're
no
not
way.
Splitting up.
Dax is going to convince Cash to turn on Copeland. That's what I think.
Yeah.
It may happen on this show. It may not. I think something big story-wise will happen here. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if the full reveal comes on this one thing, but they're turning on Copeland. I think that's happening.
For sure.
My mind has been percolating a theory because if you watched Dynamite, you did hear that a certain group is going to be in the building, but they don't have a match. The Ops. And I think that could be rife for the start of some sort of rivalry with the Death Riders. I agree. I'm actually going against the grain, and something's going to happen with Rated FTR and Death Riders are going to win.
I agree with you. I think that that's true. And I think that the Ops, what I really like about them is they are a trio. They are a dedicated trio. And we need a few more of those. AEW has the roster to facilitate it. So I really, really hope that's where they go. I hope it's, the Ops versus the Death Riders at All In. That would be a really fun match, or a Double or Nothing. That'd be a really fun match to do, and have the Ops be the ones to overcome the Death Riders. I think that'd be great. But yeah, I think something is definitely happening. They're not. I don't think Rated FTR is going to win. I do think that FTR would be a good fit for the Death Riders if they continue the Death Riders, if they continue to build that. I think the people that I see that are a good fit are Jack Perry and FTR. because they personality-wise just fit in really well.
I agree. I think that Death Riders are going to retain. However, I don't want them to be the Trios champions for much longer. I'm kind of over it now. I think it's time to move on. I'm okay with the Ups beating them down the line, but they don't defend those belts enough, and I just don't feel those three make the best team, to be honest. I don't know. They're not, I don't know what it is about. It just feels like something's missing with these three. I can't even explain it to you. Like, when I see them together, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're all good in their own way. Pac is one of my favorite wrestlers. They're just not a good fit. And if you were to ask me, well, why do you say that? I don't know. I can't even explain the reasoning to you. It's just, they're not working for me as a trios team. Does anyone else feel the same way? Maybe it's just me.
I'm just trying to remember the last time that Pac spoke. I think that's one thing right there is I never hear a promo with the three of them.
They're so much like the hand of Jon Moxley that they don't have their own identity, and it's gone too far that direction, I think, where it's like there isn't like a Claudio story. There isn't a Pac story. They're just part of John's cult, kind of, you know? And I agree with you, Joshi, in the sense that I'm ready for this to be over. I have to just say the trios division in general has been a little disappointing to me since its inception. You know, it starts off with the Elite, then they immediately get suspended. Then it becomes the Death Triangle. Then the Elite win it back from the Death Triangle. Then they lose it to the House of Black. All of that should have been a big deal. The trios division just, like, those belts should be defended all the time. You know what I mean? And they should change hands all the time. I just don't think every title needs to book to be super prestigious. You know what I mean? Some titles are more like for fun, and some titles are serious. The world title, big serious title. International title, serious title. TNT title, that can change hands more often. Trios title, that can change hands more often. You can have dominant tag teams, but do we really, like, I mean, I think having like the Ops or having like a group of singles guys that don't have a direction for a while, be a trio for a while and do something in the trios division that's worthy of being on TV, that's a cool thing to do. And then they move on to their singles programs. You know, I think the trios titles are just kind of weird. And this run where they've defended them like 3 times and since All In, which was last August.
Yeah, and they hadn't defended them for a few months. We didn't even see those belts for a really long time. I mean,
that's an average of like once every 2 months or 3 months they're defending these belts.
It's just not working. And to your point, iBlade, you had mentioned that maybe Jack Perry and FTR could join the Death Riders. I guess it depends on how far you want them to take this whole Death Riders angle.
Yeah.
It's like, do we want it to, you know, do we want to move on at this point and do something else? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is something that should continue long term. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I did want that to happen. But at this point, we're now April. I don't know, because if they do that, if they add, you know, they add FTR and Jack Perry as members, how long is this angle going to last? I just don't know. I was in total agreement with you. Like, at Revolution, I fully expected FTR to turn heel. I was like, okay, yeah, that would be great. Didn't happen. Now I'm just kind of like, this is just lingering. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and then they have the hanging thread, too, of Christian and the patriarchy, you know, kind of being halfway involved with Copeland since Revolution. And how will that play into this match? Will that play into this story? Does Copeland find his way back to Christian somehow through all of this because of the Nick Wayne stuff that's going on right now? It seems like there's a breakdown going on in the patriarchy. There's a breakdown going on in Rated FTR. Do they end up teaming together to face FTR? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that another match on this show is the ROH title versus Bandito's mask. And it's Chris Jericho versus Bandito. And I will tell you one thing. There is only one right outcome that can possibly happen here. Bandito has one of the most iconic luchador gimmicks I've ever seen. I love it. He is that gimmick, okay? You cannot lose the mask. Tony Khan, you cannot take his mask. Do you understand me? I say Bandito wins the ROH title. What do you guys think?
I'm in complete agreement with you. Bandito cannot lose his mask. And he already lost to Chris once. I don't want him to lose to Chris again.
He's actually lost to him twice. He lost his first match in AEW was against Jericho. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's been twice now. I don't want to see him lose a third time, and I definitely don't want to see him unmasked. And Jericho's hardly in ROH anyway. Put someone that might be more present. And I'm still waiting for my Spaghetti Western faction, by the way, but I just think Bandito's really over with the crowd. He's really unique. He's one of the best luchadors in the world. Put the belt on him. It's time.
Yep. Antoine?
I'm not even going to make this long because I will give it one bit of credit. I can't believe I'm saying it. Chris Jericho has done an excellent job with this build.
It's been great.
He really has.
Mm-hmm.
He really has. If you're keeping up with Ring of Honor, he's even getting cheers from the crowd. So he's definitely bringing his A game, and the only right outcome is Bandito and his mask that I've always wondered how it never comes off to stay exactly where it is and give the Ring of Honor title to Bandito.
Yeah.
Agreed.
A real champ.
And yes, Chris has done an excellent job. He hasn't impressed me with his promos like this in a very long time. And one last thing, I don't know if it's just me, but Bandito has very nice hair.
I know it's not just you. No, Will and Aubrey on the AEW podcast were like, look, if he loses the mask, nobody's losing. Okay. He's a beautiful man. But I will say, I will agree with you. I think this is Jericho's best work in a really long time. He has had to do all the talking, really. And he's done a great job. Bandito is so charismatic. This guy, push him to the moon. Just push him to the moon. He can carry it. He's another, like him and Speedball. Those are your just like, hey, kids, look at these awesome wrestlers. Those are the guys. And Commander. Where I just feel like they could appeal to anybody. But yes, Bandito's got to win this one. It's just, there's no other reason to have the match if Bandito's not winning. Okay, last match where I think we need to spend a significant amount of time on it. Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole. No time limit, no outside interference. Lance Storm pointed this out to me a long time ago, and I think it's worth mentioning. When you say no outside interference allowed, it's never allowed. But they're making a point of saying that in this match. It kind of does feel redundant a little bit. But who do we got? I think it's time to put it on Adam Cole.
I think it's time. I think Daniel has been great with the title. He was defending it pretty regularly, and it seems like he's kind of taken a little bit of a step back and turn in order to help build this program or build more multiple programs. And they've used him as a centerpiece to do so. And the biggest thing that needed to happen was, can Adam Cole stay healthy long enough to get to the point to win a championship? And he has. I think he wins here. I'm even going to say, as far as he wins cleanly and they actually listen to the no outside interference rule. It would be the biggest shock of the night if nobody interfered.
Joshi, what about you?
I agree with both of you. I think it's time to put it on Adam Cole. He's been healthy for a very long time, and he's proven that he can go. He's in great shape. You know, they've had this will be their third match, and Cole has to get the upper hand. It's the only outcome that makes sense. I don't think that Daniel Garcia's reign as TNT champion has been as bad as some people say it has been. Yeah, like, it's true. He's been in 6-man tag matches more than singles matches throughout his title reign, but I don't think it's been one of the worst booked title reigns or anything like that. And Danny's a young guy. He'll win it back at some point.
He'll win it back. He'll have a better reign somewhere down the line. I think Danny needs to lose the title to develop more as a character.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Like, that's the thing about storytelling, folks, is like, there's no pro or con to winning or losing if you don't do anything with it, right? It's only a con. So even winning a title that you're not ready for, or your character's not going to develop from that win, is not doing anything for you. Okay. Nobody legitimately wins any of the titles. Okay. So like nobody forces anyone's shoulders to the mat. It's cooperative. So it's all about storytelling. And I think Danny's character can come a lot further from a loss than he would by continuing to hold this belt. I would say his reigns felt a little lackluster to me at times. I think it's been overblown. I've seen people call him a charisma vacuum. That's just not true.
No, that's not fair to him.
That's harsh.
That's not fair at all.
He's not even 25 yet.
Yeah, that's harsh.
I would also say it's not his fault that this title reign has been the way it is. It's the way he's been booked. He's been in these weird trios matches that don't really matter. I will say the 20-minute draw with him and Cole was Cole's best match since he came back. Adam Cole's looking like Adam Cole again.
Totally agree.
Man, he has built his body back up too. He's looking really good. And so I think this is Adam Cole that's ready. You know, I think he would have won the world title if he hadn't gotten injured before. And now you got to start him smaller down the chain. But you know what? Adam Cole's a winner. Well, period. This guy's one of the best.
You know what? It also feels like they need to add some prestige to the TNT title. It's like right now, the TNT title just feels so low on the spectrum of titles, so to speak. So, I mean, when Darby was the TNT champion, it felt like a really big deal, the title itself. Right now, it just kind of feels like a lower card title, and I feel that Adam Cole could elevate it. And my hope is that he defends it regularly on TV, because I thought the TNT title was the most prestigious when it was constantly defended on television. Somehow they broke away from that. I don't know why, but that's what made it so special. You would tune in to Dynamite and it was like, oh, Darby is, Darby's, in my opinion, he was the best TNT champion ever in AEW. But the way, like his title reign, his first title reign, was perfectly booked, and I just don't really understand why they gave up on that formula. It worked very well.
I don't think so. Like, we got so much more to cover, and we're going to, but I want to make one more point about the TNT title and get Antoine's thoughts on it as well, is book it like the TV title. It's not up to the title holder to decide how they defend it. It's an open challenge, and it's defended every week or every couple weeks at minimum. You should see that belt defended, and the TBS title should be the same. Okay. It's not a problem that Mercedes holds that title because she wrestles a lot and she could defend it a lot. And RVD in ECW took the TV title and made it a bigger title than the world title for a while because he held it so long, and he made it, like more must see than the world title for a while. So there's no reason that doesn't degrade the belts, but they're literally named after the networks.
Right.
They're TV titles. Start booking them like TV titles. You know what I mean? Antoine, what do you think about that?
I actually find myself agreeing with you because I have always considered the TNT title to be like a old school WCW television championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you would see them every week defending the title, whether it was Arn Anderson for a throwback reference or whomever.
Double A for life.
Stunning Steve Austin.
Also. Hell yeah. Workhorse.
And I just want to see it get back there. I do disagree on one thing. I thought Christian's reign was the best of all because it was just
really good. Oh my
hilarious.
God. You're right. Yes. Christians as well. Christians as well, for sure.
But you see, like, this is the nature of that title, is that its value can go up and down so fast, right? Where it's like Cody made it mean a lot in the beginning. Brody held it for such a short time that it didn't really matter. Cody wins it back, then immediately loses it to Darby, who has a great title reign. Loses it to Miro, who had a great title reign. I think his is one of the best too.
For sure.
And then it kind of bounces around for a long time. Doesn't mean a lot until Darby wins it. And then Joe wins it from Wardlow. And it kind of feels significant again. And then Darby wins it from Joe. And then Joe wins it back from Darby. And then, and then it bounces around until Christian wins it. And he makes it mean a lot. Copeland wins it. It means a lot. And then Jack Perry gets it. And Jack Perry's run wasn't booked great either.
No.
And so it's now been about a year where it's felt like it's jumped around a lot and it hasn't meant as much. So, I like the TNT title. I like the TBS title. I think those titles can be prestigious in their way, but maybe the reigns don't have to be as long. Like, if you're defending it every week, what I liked is the story with Orange Cassidy when he was the international champion is like, he's defended this belt so many times. He's breaking down, and like Darby's like, I want to be champion, like for a good time, not for a long time, kind of thing is like, I just want to defend this title every chance I get. I don't care if I lose it in a month, he put a different context on being champion. Okay. So we are going to come back, speed run through the rest of this card. Then we are going to quickly talk about the Owen. And we are getting the fuck out of here because I got to edit this show. So, Gerald, music now. Gerald, thank you. You're doing a good job. You are doing a good job. You can sleep on the couch tonight, not in the corner. Thank you.
Wow.
Gerald.
Poor Gerald.
Hey, this is an upgrade from where he used to live. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're not going to talk about that. Anyway, Hurt Syndicate versus Learning Tree. How are we feeling, Antoine?
I think this is the funniest match of the night.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's going to be more competitive than anybody thinks it's going to be.
Yep.
Because Big Bill is excellent. I think my guy has been having some excellent singles matches on Collision. Mm-hmm. But if they're looking to impress Chris Jericho by winning, they're going to be sorely mistaken. This is going to be an old-fashioned ass whooping.
Joshi.
Hurt Syndicate's winning for sure.
Yeah.
I do want to bring something up, though, very quickly. Does MJF play a factor?
Interesting. I hadn't thought of that. This might be his way to be a part of the show because he's not booked in a match. Interesting thought. That maybe is where it goes. Is MJF helps them win?
That's a possibility. That was a great curveball. I hope not, but it's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with both of you. There's no fucking way anything but Hurt Syndicate winning. They gonna hurt people. Moving on. Will Ospreay faces Kevin Knight in a Owen Hart Foundation quarterfinal match. I got Kevin Knight. What do you guys think?
What? Are you being serious or you're joking here now? Come on.
I mean, come on. Do you think I could possibly be serious?
No.
That was a great reaction.
I got Ospreay all the way.
Ospreay 100%. And again, like Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight spoiled. He signs with AEW and he gets a pay-per-view match against Will Ospreay. Really lucky guy. These kids, man. Wow.
Well, it bums me out only a little bit because Jay versus Will would have been this match.
I know.
And that's sad. But I got to say, I think Kevin Knight is what a great pickup for AEW. He could be a huge fucking star down the road. Like, this guy's got charisma for days. He's huge. He's in person. He is so tall and so aerial. Like his vertical jump is insane. So I think they are looking damn good for this is going to be a sleeper match on the show, and I think they're going to show out big time. Antoine, what about you?
I'm a big Kevin Knight fan. I'm such a big Kevin Knight fan. I think if this was New Japan or anywhere else, I really think Kevin Knight could come out here as the winner. Mm-hmm. But here and where Will is in his journey, this is going to be a match that could steal the show.
Yeah.
It's what I'm looking forward to.
Me too.
But it's going to be Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
And it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have another Owen Hart quarterfinal match. And this one's very interesting because we have the CEO, Mercedes Moné, versus Julia Hart. Now, we got to talk about this Collision this last Saturday. I'm pretty sure Joshi only stopped screaming about this like right before we started the show because she called me in the middle of Collision because she was so excited that Athena turned up on Collision. So we have been seeing the teases with Billy Starks, and Athena finally showed up and told Mercedes, like, hey, like, I'm here. I want to beat that ass. So if you look at the women's bracket, if Mercedes beats Julia Hart and Athena beats Harley Cameron, they would face each other in the semifinal of the women's Owen Hart. So that said, Joshi, what's your reaction to all that?
Oof. This is a tough one. So first of all, woo! Athena!
Yeah.
It freaking happened. About time. I was so freaking happy. You know it. I know it. Everybody in the back knows it. Muppet Moné knows it. Yes, it's like Collision just got so much better. So it's an interesting one because, yes, on the one hand, I can see Athena cost Mercedes the match. For sure. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I could see Muppet Moné help Mercedes win the match.
Muppet Moné.
Yes.
She's going to help Mercedes beat Julia Hart.
She is totally going to help Mercedes Moné beat Julia Hart because she loves Mercedes Moné.
Okay. Why are you talking like that?
What do you mean?
Can we talk to Joshi G?
I am Joshi G.
I don't think you are.
Why don't you ask Antoine what he thinks?
Yeah, Antoine, what just please get me out of this.
I mean, I'm kind of curious how Muppet Moné would, in fact, help win. I really am curious about that complete and utter lowercase X factor.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Muppet Moné maker, obviously.
The Muppet Moné maker.
Obviously. That is definitely obvious. Mm-hmm. I am not taking that away from you. And I really think this is a fun Owen, this is a fun Owen match. Julia Hart she's good. I'm really glad to see her back. Mm-hmm. But Mercedes is going to win this because there is only one semifinal match any of us want and need in our lives.
Like, Julia Hart is just such a gothic baby. She's just a kid.
Oh my God. I so agree.
You are taking your meds still?
Yes, I am taking my Muppet meds.
Is Joshi J there with you now?
He's watching New Japan right now.
Oh. Can we talk to Joshi G?
Okay, let me see if I can find her. I'm so excited for her Dynasty, guys. It's going to be awesome.
Thanks, Muppet Moné. Bye.
Hey, what's up? You called?
Yeah. What the hell?
What?
Do you think you just tagged Muppet Moné in? You can't even get through a whole show by yourself anymore?
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, why don't we discuss Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe? I mean,
that's a great idea, Joshi G. So we all agree that Mercedes is going to triumph in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Athena cost her the match. I could also see it going that way. So I don't know. I don't know.
The only objection I have to any of that is I don't know where Tony's going with this one. Because I want that match at All In, right? But I'm not sure that's where it's happening now.
What do you mean?
Because of the way this has been set up. Because if Mercedes loses to Julia Hart, that's her first loss in AEW.
Right.
Ever. And Athena has been the world champion of Ring of Honor for years, right? So if Mercedes costs Athena reciprocal loss, which I think is a direction they could go where they both screw each other out of the Owen, right?
But more like count out, no? Like a count out or something that...
How do you do a count out on a pay-per-view, though?
I don't know. I see your point.
Tony never does that.
What I could maybe see happening is that they both win. They face each other, but somehow they both get disqualified. That could be an option.
Here's the problem, though. If you do a double DQ or a double count out with those two, the other side, whoever wins the semifinal, is the winner. Because then there would be no final.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'm not sure.
The way Tony's booked this, I'm sure there's a method to the madness. I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
My guess is like you see it on paper and you go, oh, we're getting Mercedes and Athena. They screw each other. And so we don't get Mercedes and Athena, but they end up in a feud. That's what I think. Because, it's not like...
Oh, that's plausible.
Well, what about kayfabe injury and one of them has to be replaced?
That could also be true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be Mercedes. I mean, you're not going to pull her off the show. You know what I mean? On a pay-per-view.
I really don't know how they're going to do this.
Yeah. It'll just be interesting to see. But to me, that's a marquee money match.
Of course, yeah.
And you do that on a huge show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or the other school of thought is you make all of your shows feel like they're important and you put this on one of those shows, maybe not All In, and you decide to put it on the one before All In.
Double or Nothing, yeah.
Yeah, because I think they need the absolute spotlight where it won't ever get them swallowed up. And if that requires it not to be at All In, where that potential where that potential can happen, that's perfectly fine. Because I also look at it as this is the perfect way that one of them could drop a loss without it affecting either's title reign.
Or another thing that can happen is Mercedes beats Athena, and then you get the rematch at All In, and Athena beats Mercedes. They could do that.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think Antoine's totally right that they could do that it doesn't need to necessarily be at All In because it's just, you would, I think I'm thinking from a WrestleMania mindset kind of with All In, where it's like, the biggest possible matches happen at that event, right? But like AEW has a million of those matches that they can make. So it's like, if Tony has a different idea, Tony has a different idea. I just think title for title, Mercedes and Athena, that's a big ass match. Antoine's shaking his head.
The thing is, Mercedes Athena, in my opinion, it has to happen at All In. It doesn't have to be their first match in AEW. It has to. She is a Texan. Who else would you put in that position?
Right.
She deserves it. It's the hometown girl. I mean, I don't see another wrestler facing Mercedes at All In. I just don't.
It is April, the beginning of April.
Yeah.
So we still have 3.5 months.
Right. But we're just wondering, right? Like, how do you save that match right now, knowing that if they win their quarterfinal matches, they're going to face off against each other. So what happens there? Right. So that's the tricky part. I don't know. I have no idea what Tony has planned, unless, as I said, you do a kayfabe injury, and then one of them will be replaced.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or we could just do the old-fashioned, let them fight it out. One wins one, and the other wins the other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it could be that too.
Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, we do have Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. Another quarterfinal men's Owen. On paper, this would look like a Kyle Fletcher slam dunk.
Yeah.
But these guys have gone back and forth in this little rivalry. And I like this because they have a very New Japan-like natural rivalry that's not really dictated by anything more than you beat me last time. I need to beat you this time. I need to like prove myself. And, AEW could stand to have more of those, I would say.
Great analogy. And they actually could.
Yeah.
And I think that New Japan does a great job spotlighting stuff like that. Like Sonata's record versus Okada was like pitiful, and like, so Sonata's always trying to like, get a win over Okada to even things out a little because he's like 7-2 or like 8-1, and he finally beats him and he becomes like 8-2, and like people are like, yeah, but so sometimes people just have your number too. And like Jay White has Hangman's number,
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. I like, because in baseball, same thing. Sometimes a certain hitter can just, one of the best pitchers in the game just can't get something past this one guy who just crushes him every time. And vice versa. So I like that kind of stuff. So does Mark Briscoe have Kyle Fletcher's number?
I think it might be Briscoe.
I think there's I think I got Ospreay winning for sure. I think Briscoe might pull it out.
I would like to see Briscoe pull it out because each year he's been in the C2 he's been excellent in it.
Yes.
He pulled that surprise upset or quote unquote surprise by beating Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
And just ticking off Don Callis to all ends of the earth.
The winner of Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight faces Brody King or Konosuke Takeshita.
Yeah.
That's going to be an amazing match, by the way. And then the winner of Briscoe Kyle Fletcher faces the winner of Hangman versus the wild card. So let's throw it to Gerald, because real quick, when we come back, we're going to cover what's lined up for the Owen that we haven't already talked about, because I have one interesting theory about the wild card, and we'll come back in just a minute. And we're back. Folks, the wild card. I saw some people say they want it to be Josh Alexander. I get why they want it to be Josh Alexander, okay? I want it to be Josh Alexander too. However, I don't want Josh Alexander to lose in his first match because he's probably going to be a really big deal, right? So my theory is that the wild card is MJF. MJF and Hangman just had that big match.
Yeah.
MJF's looking for revenge. MJF gets his revenge, maybe, or loses again. There's more story there if it's MJF.
That is a good theory.
That is an excellent theory. And it would really open up the entire Owen Hart Cup, I think, because with Swerve being on the show and Hangman being on the show, my ultimate is this is going to lead to Swerve versus Hangman down the road because Hangman's going to win.
Yeah.
Throwing MJF in there completely just
reshuffles
completely nuke that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be really interesting.
Might I add, this is the most stacked on both sides of the Owen it's ever been.
Yeah.
Sad that Jay White isn't in it, but even so, incredible tournament.
I mean, Brody King versus Konosuke Takeshita. Somebody has to lose.
That's a dynamite match. That's a dynamite match too.
That's
not happening on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
That's
an international title match we didn't get,
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. The winner of Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight will face the winner of Brody King versus Konosuke Takeshita. On the other side, the winner of Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher will face the winner of Hangman Page versus a wild card. On the women's side, Jamie Hayter will face Billy Starks, and the winner of that match will face the winner of Thunder Rosa versus Chris Statlander. On the other side, the winner of Julia Hart versus Mercedes Moné will face the winner of Athena versus Harley Cameron. Joshi, why don't you share your theory again about what you think is happening on the women's side? Because I think you might be right.
The way I see it is, we rewind to Double or Nothing 2023. Jamie Hayter was in a feud with the Outcasts, right? And at Double or Nothing that year, she had wrestled Toni Storm, and Toni Storm beat her, but there was a lot of interference. Now, fast forward to 2025, Jamie's back. And if you remember, when she came back at All In 2024, she had said that she was going to get revenge on everyone that did her wrong. And she did get revenge on Saraya. Ruby Soho, she's not there, right? She's on maternity leave. So who does that leave? Toni Storm.
Tony, right.
So my guess is Athena, Jamie Hayter wins the Owen, might go full heel, and beats Toni Storm for the title. I think she gets her revenge.
You could even go one step further and have Harley go on a miracle run to the finals, and she's like connected to the Outcasts, you know what I mean? Even if she and Jamie beats her to win the thing. I mean, I prefer Julia Hart, but whatever. I think it's a great theory. But Jamie versus Tony, that's a money program. Big time.
And keep in mind, this match was supposed to happen at the first All In, right? But Jamie wasn't cleared.
Right. That's why they had that 4-way match where Saraya won. Yeah.
That is an absolute excellent breakdown in theory. It almost makes me want to change my entire thought process, because if the entire point is to build up new stars, not just brand new, but keep building up and making the division as solid as possible at the world title picture, or you could interchange from world to TBS to world, et cetera, then I think it would be best from that perspective if Jamie won.
I think so.
Mercedes and Athena are made. They gain nothing,
right,
except to face each other. That's the only thing anybody cares about or wants to see.
Yep.
So I can't see them losing in the first round, either of them. So I think there's going to be some shenanigans, and they're going to get themselves double disqualified.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
and whoever Jamie faces is going to be the winner of the entire Owen. I like that enough that I think Joshi G just changed my mind.
Yeah, I think Mercedes doesn't need to win it at all. Athena doesn't need to win it. Their business is with each other. Have them go in that direction after the tournament, and keep the focus there and carry it to All In. Have them have because Mercedes hasn't had a real feud.
No,
she's just had
term
matches. The short-term rivalries that led to matches, and she needs a real feud. And having a blood enemy in Athena, there we go. So that they need something to be pissed off at each other about. So that's the way to do it, I think.
Look, it's tough because it's probably going to end up being Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander, and I don't want to see either of them lose, but
I know.
I think, look, I don't think Jamie has ever beaten Chris Statlander. So
yeah, I'm not sure. Have they even had a match before?
They did when she did when she was Britt's bodyguard, more or less. But she did have a match with Chris.
Okay, so that doesn't count.
Yeah. So I could see Jamie beating Chris this time around.
Yeah, I could see it.
It's just that they have to be careful with Crystal. Like we've mentioned before on the podcast, she is somebody that you want to use very well.
You do.
Not get lost.
Yeah, you don't want Stout to get lost in the sauce. She's been very, very generous in the build for Megan Bayne, and she should be rewarded for that at some point. You know, she is probably the person that's the hardest to believe she's never been the champion before in that group right now. But I definitely think Jamie Hayter, you know, it's kind of crazy because she'll be like, I think she'll turn heel and she'll be a justified heel where she's getting revenge on Tony for something Tony legitimately did, but Tony isn't that Tony anymore.
Right.
And so the fans are going to cheer Tony and boo Jamie. And
we could end up with a Bret Hart Stone Cold situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's that kind of thing. Well, folks, I love talking wrestling with you too. This has been an absolute blast.
Likewise.
Also, Muppet Moné, please stay out of the show. Make sure you go to sickosclub.com. Make sure you go to our store. Check out our awesome merch there. Read the blogs we got there. Read the contributor articles that we have there. Check out all of the podcasts that we produce right now. That is this show, Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out. Give us a 5-star review in the iTunes store. And The Hard Way with Brett Michelle. Give that a 5-star review in the iTunes store. And make sure you subscribe so you get us each and every Saturday and each and every Wednesday. But for now, I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G.
And I'm Antoine Raphael.
Pro wrestling forever.
For life.